very nature of the rant is perhaps the grossest and most unforgivable journalistic cliché of them all, and that is a moan against what might be considered political correctness. I forgive myself by saying it's not precisely political correctness that is the target of my rant so much as that strange nebulous world of safety and compliance that seems to be binding us all in hoops of steel at the moment. Nonetheless, it's very naughty of me even to think about wasting your time with a moan of this nature. Yet I can't help it. I am Midas's barber, and it must be done. So, I hope you'll forgive me. Now, where to begin? Well, a friend of mine has directed a number of episodes of a very successful BBC drama called... well, I won't tell you its real name. I'll say it's called Spies, and it's immensely popular, and it's gone into its, 6th, 7th, 8th series, or season, as we like to say in the American fashion now, and it's a jolly romp of a show, I have to confess. I have something of a weakness for it, and if I'm on a series of long journeys, having to travel by aeroplane or boat or something, I don't mind slamming a few DVDs of it into my computer, and it will while away the time very happily indeed. It's a fine series, jolly well made. It's preposterous, of course it is. It's nothing like real-life spying. If it were, it would be very dull. So there are lots of bombs going off and all kinds of hot exchanges of love and all the rest of it between the various agents in the field, and all kinds of enmity between the CIA and the MI5 and the MI6 and all the rest of it. It's harmless, dramatic television, but pretty jolly successful, as I say. Most of the episodes involve bombs going off somewhere in London and someone having to save it, so there's a lot of driving around, therefore, a great deal of high-speed pursuit, as I believe it's called. And naturally, there's a lot of communication between the base, where Harry Pierce, who runs it all, played by the splendid Colin Firth, whom you'll remember as a young lad in Equus, I dare say, and on the double-deckers, if you're my generation. He has to communicate with them, they have to communicate with him and with each other, and it's the modern world. Information, data exchange, 3G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, they've just got to be in touch at all times to save civilization. Except when they're driving, of course. When they're driving, they can't use the phone. When they're driving, they have to have their seatbelts done up, and they must never use the telephone. They mustn't even use a hands-free telephone. They're entirely welcome to kill each other in cold blood. They're entitled to betray their country on screen. They're entitled to behave badly to their wives and their children. They're entitled to eat unhealthy foods. But they are not entitled to use a telephone in the car, which real people in an emergency would do. Yes, I know it happens to be illegal, but it's also illegal to shoot people in the face. But they shoot people in the face, and nobody stops them doing that. But there are a series of men and women whose whole job is to stop you from having people filmed in cars not wearing seatbelts or making phone calls. It's called compliance. Compliance with what? Compliance with being an arsehole. Compliance with stupidity. Compliance with making this country a shithole. I cannot believe that anybody would allow this to happen. I cannot believe that they wouldn't just say, no, I'm going to film it the way it should be. What is the point of having cars and backgrounds and extras? What's the point of trying to make it realistic? Why not just do it against cardboard? If you're not allowed to do it as it really would be done, because what? Because you're setting a bad example? Well, what kind of example you were setting by betraying your country or shooting people in the face? I don't know where to begin, and I don't know where to end. I want to take the people who are responsible for this, and I want to squeeze the life out of them. I never want them to get up again. I want them to understand how insane they are. And I have a horrible feeling that they're shaking their head and saying something about how it's wrong to set a bad example to children or something. Whereas shooting people in the face, how many times do I have to say this, apparently isn't setting a bad example to children. Oh my God, I want to explode with fury. And the awful thing is they win. The directors and the producers of the programme comply. Why don't they just tell them to fuck off? No, I know I'm distorting the sound and bending the gain needle, but isn't that what this kind of behaviour does? Doesn't it distort the sound of society and bend the needle of comity? Oh, I've gone mad now, but you know what I mean. I mean, surely if ever there were an excuse for distortion and needle-bending anger, this is it. It's insane. It just absolutely drives me crazy. You can hear my voice is now ragged with fury. Oh, hell, oh, double hell, oh, triple hell with an extra side order of hell. What kind of country are we living in? And there you see, you have it. I've done it. I've ended an article, as it were, with the phrase, what kind of a country are we living in? This is the problem. This is the sole danger, and I'm spelling soul here, S-O-U-L, the sole danger posed by having one's own space, whether it's column inches or a blog space. It just turns one into a kind of prating imbecile, an overweeningly proud person, like a columnist who thinks they have a right to share their furies with the rest of the world. Well, I can't help it. I have this space, and I wanted to dig this hole in the ground and yell. And I have. And I hope it hasn't upset you too much. You possibly disagree. Perhaps you think it's entirely right that people shouldn't be shown on screen without seatbelts, and they shouldn't be shown in... I don't know, it makes me laugh because I know what the arguments are. They're things like, well, you know, these spies are jolly cool, so children look to them to copy them. Oh, I'm going to have to say, shoot them in the face again. Is that where they look to copy them? I mean, it just doesn't begin to make sense. We are ruled by idiots, ladies and gentlemen. I know, because of the comments you send me, I know how wise and sensible and thoughtful you all are, and you are typical of people. And yet this country is being run by idiots. Complete idiots. We know they're idiots because they're the kind of people who sat next to us at school. They're no more than that. They're not from some special race of administrators and governors who have inculcated into them a greatness and an understanding that we are not privileged to have. Far from it. They are morons. It's such a pity. It's a small thing, I know. It's a very small thing when weighed in the balance of human misery. But it may just be the small thing that tips us all over the edge. It certainly seems to have tipped me over the edge, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologise, so I want to wrap up now.